When did you first hear about CM Punk? He feels like one of those guys that may have been on your radar as a name you had heard because he had a lot of buzz outside of WWE before he ever got signed.
Yeah, CM Punk was a big top star there at Ring of Honor, as most fans realize and remember. He was their champion at various times. So he got on my radar, I'd say around 2004. And then he came to WWE in 2005. I want to believe that my run as the EVP of Talent Relations was over by that time. But it was pretty simple. You know, you go to Ring of Honor and you got not like any other promotion. You take their top guys if you can get them and bring them in and mold them to your own image if that's possible. So he was on the radar because a lot of the talents liked him because of his work ethic and his in-ring stylings. Phil Brooks, a very unique guy, as you know, inside and outside the ring. We were talking about that, but a lot of the talents wanted to work with him, and I thought that was a pretty good recommendation. But then it was pretty much a no-brainer for Laurinaitis to bring Punk into WWE. He was really one of the best talents in the world at that time, so that was a good hire. And but that around 2000, I'd say I really got more familiar with him around 2005, Conrad. You know, when he was making that transition back out of ROH into WWE.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans really start paying attention to him in Ring of Honor because he has a really sort of a landmark feud with Raven. I think that was like 03, maybe 04. I first saw him do a promo in 2004 for Ring of Honor and thought, hey, I don't know what this is, but I'm in. It was one of those really, really well done promos that you wonder, you know, how much of that is real and how much of that is story, because he cut a pretty scathing promo on Raven and talked about Raven's addiction problems and compared it to his own father's addiction problems and explained that he was straight edge. And if I'm honest with you, that's really the first time I learned about straight edge and what that meant. Jim, when did you learn about the straight edge movement and CM Punk and how he had sort of woven that into not only part of his wrestling character, but his real life?
Well, the same as you, I watched a lot of Ring of Honor, especially in those days, because they had not they don't have a good roster now, they do, but they had some, pardon me, some really significant talents on that roster at that time. Samoa Joe, Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, and others that I will leave out for no particular reason, but I forgot who the hell they are. No, I'm kidding. They had a good roster. They had a lot of really strong talents that were wrestling centric, and that always appealed to me. And Punk fit right into that group. I'm like you. I heard his straight edge mantra the first time on a promo in Ring of Honor, and I like you. I was not as familiar with what straight edge really meant in total, and I also didn't know that it wasn't a gimmick. I said, well, this guy's got a unique idea here to draw attention to himself. It's a nice way to do a promo if you're a babyface or a heel. It kind of made some sense. But then I found out later on, right after he came to WWE, that this was no gimmick. There was no act. He believed in the straight edge lifestyle. He still does. And that was the way he lived his life. So it was a learning experience. And as we said before we started recording, you know, he was such a unique guy that I'd never met a wrestler that I can recall of his prominence and skill set that was straight edge. All the boys would drink a beer every now and then or go meet the hotel bar, whatever the case may be, and that was social, but not him. That was not his deal. Even though he's one of the most social guys on the roster, especially with the ladies, he just was not going to be doing any drinking and not going to do any drugs. So I admired that. And for me, as a former talent relations guy, getting him in the locker room with no baggage of that regard was a bonus.
There came a time period where the WWE contract offer came and you left Ring of Honor. At that point, you were one of the top tier talents in Ring of Honor. At one point, you were running their wrestling academy. You were the world champion, all these other things. The offer comes, and obviously there's more money, more fame, more adulation, bigger schedule. Was it hard to divorce yourself from Ring of Honor after all those years of working so hard to make that a destination for wrestlers and for wrestling fans? Before there was an AEW, before there were these other groups, and every promotion had, every city had 5 independent shows, there was Ring of Honor, and that kind of became all rivers flowed to Ring of Honor, and then people went from there to other places. Was it hard to let Ring of Honor go and move on? Because that last night in Chicago.
I mean, yeah, watch that. I cried like a baby. Yeah. And I don't know if it hit me until that exact moment, how much it was going to suck, because I was going into the unknown. I really, really was. And, you know, there wasn't a whole lot of hope. There was, oh, you're going to get used the wrong way and this, that. But I was at a point where I had to see what I could do, because that's just me, and that's who I am. You know, it's like you climb the mountain and you realize, oh shit, there's another mountain. And then you climb that mountain and you're like, man, it's just a plateau. There's more to go. So I was always trying to go there. And WWE in my career, I don't think was ever the final. You know, I don't think I ever aspired to be a WWE guy. I think I wanted to wrestle in Japan, because I think all my heroes wrestled in Japan. I thought All Japan Wrestling was, you know, 93 was like far and away best wrestling of all time. And I wanted to go there. I got to go to Japan. I was like, fuck yeah, I made it. And then Hashimoto tells me, maybe too big lightweight, not big enough heavyweight. And like, next thing I know, I've canceled all my bookings because they were supposed to bring me on the tour. And then they tell me I'm not on the tour. And I was just like, ugh. So I call up Gabe and I go, hey, can I have that booking back? And Gabe was like, oh, yeah, you know, because Gabe was always inundated with that. Like, Carino would always be taking guys, and guys would be canceling off shows, Homicide, Low Key, all that. So Gabe was thrilled that I was, you know, back on the show. And then I told him, I was like, I don't think the Japan thing is going to work out, and I'm sick of being jerked around about you're on the tour, you're off the tour. So I was just like, let's just fucking make something here. And I think we did make something there. I think I'm super proud of Ring of Honor at that time, because I feel like we made it a destination, just like you said. And it's still going today. Yeah. I think at that time it was a destination for guys to go and not only work and get paid well, but also learn. And that's kind of, you know, like I was like, I want to work with Jimmy Rave. And Gabe was like, what? Why? And I was like, there's fucking something about him. And, you know, I mean, you know, I think he'll maybe learn something. Not that I'm, you know, professor or anything like that, but it was very hard. It was very hard to leave, because, like I said, it was just unknown. It just felt like time to go.